Day today? Well, mine was okay. Okay, so today we are going to read Genesis chapter 22. And before we read it, though, I noticed some things about, actually, okay, let me just get right to it. So this is Genesis chapter 22, but then when I looked up some information about Genesis chapter 22, I came across this. Genesis chapter 22 is most commonly known as the sacrifice of Isaac or the binding of Isaac. In Jewish tradition, it is known as the Akedah. The Akedah or Akedah Yitzhak. That's the Hebrew name for Isaac. Yitzhak, I think. Well, which translates the binding of Isaac, so on and so forth. Okay. Um, what about the other chapters, maybe? So let's look up Genesis chapter 3, Genesis chapter 23. Okay, real quick. Barrel, does it have its own special name? I don't know. I don't think it does. It just says. No, it doesn't have its own special name like. Oh, wait, no, wait, hold on. The Jewish tradition. Okay, here we go. In Genesis chapter 23, in the Jewish tradition, this chapter is part of the Parish. Uh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Uh, and I don't know how to pronounce that either. So let's find out. Meaning, it means basically the life of Sarah, right? The life of Sarah, even though this focuses on her death. Significance represents the first piece of the promised land that Abraham actually owns. Okay, so why am I looking this up? Because it's just interesting. The first we were looking at the other chapter. If you just got here, this is what the Akedah. Okay, Akedah Yitzhak, the sacrifice of Yitzhak. Okay, all right, good. Now we got a little basic background. Let let us read the Bible. Okay, fine. I'll read the Bible. Okay, and it came to pass after these things that God God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. Hineni, behold, here I am. Um, and he said, Take now thy son. Oh, thank you for subbing, Isaac. That's awesome. Well, please watch the video. Not for like 30 seconds. Well, I appreciate it. Let's just say that. Uh, hold on. Okay. Let's look at verse 2. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering unto um, one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. This same mountain probably is where Jesus was, put on the cross and died. Okay, awesome. And let's, okay, verse 3. Let's move it up. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his donkey, his ass, and took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood, or split the wood, for the burnt offering. Okay, what does the burnt offering actually represent? Right? It's a sacrifice to God. Right? Maybe we'll look it up later if we get time. You know what? Let's look it up now. We got the app. What does it say here? You guys don't mind if I look this up here and see what it says? Okay, I'll read this real quick. Okay, form of Israelite sacrifice in which uh, a choice animal is offered to make atonement for sin. It was completely consumed by fire. Whoa. So Isaac would have had been actually burned if it was carried through. Uh, of course, All right, moving on. All right, and rose up and went unto a place which God had told him. Then on the third day, interesting, Abram lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abram said unto his young men, Abide here, stay here with the ass, and I and the lad will go up yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham, took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife. And they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Because usually the lamb would be burnt on the altar there. And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which God had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in order and bound Isaac his son and laid him on the altar upon the wood. So Abram went through it, right? And Abram stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad, neither do anything unto him, for I know now that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering. Hold on, let's move up a little bit. In the stead of his son, and in the place of his son, and Abraham called the name of that place Jehovah Jireh. What do you call it, Georgia? Jehovah Jireh or Jireh? Okay, yeah, Jehovah Jireh or Jiri, right, Georgia? In her language, as It is said to this day, in the mount of the Lord it shall be seen. And the angel of the Lord called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Lord, because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son. Maybe I read this already, I'm sorry. Okay, let's move it up a little bit. That in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies. Hold on. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice. Obeying God's voice is very important. So Abram returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she hath also borne children unto thy brother Nahor, Huz his firstborn, and Buz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Aram, and Kesed. Kesed means something important. I just can't really... Kesed. I think it means something... Hold on, I'm going to look that up real quick. Forgot what it means exactly. It means something cool. Okay. Kesed. No, it's a Hebrew. Okay. No, there must be some more to it. I've seen this word before. Maybe it means blessing or something like that. Okay, let's continue. And Hazo, and Phildash, and Laba. I don't know how to pronounce this. Georgia, do you know how to pronounce this word? Okay. You know what? I don't know. Let's see what it says. This word is... Okay, you got me on this word. Okay, they have a pronunciation key over here. Well...
Yidlaf.
Yidlaf. Okay, Yidlaf. And Bethuel begot Rebekah, and these 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, Abram's brother. Okay, let's continue. Verse 24, and his concubine, whose name was Remula, or Rima, she bare also Taba, and Gaham, and Thalash, and Machash. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And Sarah was 107 and 20 years old, 127 years old, or I think. these were the days, these were the years of Sarah, the life of Sarah, and Sarah died in Kirjath Arba. The same is Hebron. Okay, Hebron is going to be very important later on in the land of Canaan, and uh, Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abram stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stronger and I am a stranger and a sojourner. Sorry about that. With you to give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the children of Heth answered Abram, saying unto him, Hear us, my lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. In the choice of our sepulchres, bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou may bury thy dead. Dun dun dun. Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth, which kind of is amazing, to be honest with you. And he humbled himself, right? And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat me for to the Ephron, the son of Zorah, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field, for as much money as it is worth. He shall give it to me for a possession of a burying place amongst you. Okay, where were we at actually? We're still in chapter 23. And Ephron dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the audience of the children of Heth. How you doing? Warlock, what's up? You're awesome. Thank you for, tuning in, man. So we're almost done. So, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abram in the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my lord, hear me, the field give I thee, and the cave that is therein, I give it thee in the presence of the sons of my people, give I it thee, bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land. And he spake unto Ephron in the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Just like David, King David, when he had a land that he needed to purchase. I'm referring to the time where he made a big mistake, and I don't know the exact chapter. He made a big mistake. He tried to count the people, right? And God gave him through the prophet three choices, and none of them were good. So he put himself into God's hands, and yeah, it he. I can't wait till we get to this chapter because it's really cool. But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take of it me, and I will bury my dead there. Okay, let's move this up a little bit. Okay, you want me to debate you? Okay, I'm almost done. What should we debate about? Hold on. Okay, can you wait? Yeah, fine. Let's debate. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, My Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury thy dead. Bury therefore thy dead. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver which he named in the audience of the sons of Heth. Okay, hold on. Let's move it up a little bit. 400 shekels of silver, uh, current money with the merchants, and the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, in the field, and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure. Okay. Let's see how much is left here. I'm gonna skip ahead real quick. Okay, we got till verse 20. So let's go back to verse 18. Yeah, just so we know. Unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate uh, of his city. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, and and the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan, and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession. That means he paid for it, and he made it, public. Right? He probably took his shoe off, just like it was in what is it? Ruth, the book of Ruth, coming up, and made sure unto Abraham to make sure something. Also, I think you have to do it at the gate, the city of the gate, and made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth. Okay, we are done. Chapter 24 is next, but we will hold off. Okay. Uh, I don't know. Let me switch my cameras up. Are you ready, Warlock? Hold on. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let's move all this. So, what do you want to talk about? What kind of debate are we talking about? All right, go ahead. Ask your question. Okay. So, okay, God cannot be both all knowing and all powerful. all-knowing and all-powerful. That's interesting. So that's like you're limiting God. There is what they call characteristics of God. Okay. You know what? Let me look them up real quick, and you know them, right? You know all the characteristics of God. See, just real quick. Get a. Okay, so there are omnipresence. Okay, that is God is everywhere, but right, He can be everywhere. Right, He's not limited to a certain location. Right, we're not limiting God to a certain location. Right, and omniscient. Omniscient, God is all knowing. Omnipotent, right? He's all powerful. This is like your question here. Alongside moral perfection and holiness. So God is holy, right? He's perfect. He never sinned, right? He's all, and also He is loving. He's merciful, faithful. He's just. He's unchanging, right? And He's sovereign. That's for some of them. Okay. God is all powerful. We speaking because, for example, oh, okay, omnipotent, right? That is right. Okay. So omnipowerful refers to God's creation power, right? And probably a lot of more things that obviously we can't think about, that we can't understand because, right? Because God can create something new that doesn't exist out of bara. Okay, the scripture in the Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? Um, Here, let me go look at that real quick, and we'll start there. Okay, let me close that tab here. Okay, so alright. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? And the earth was out without form and void, right? And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And let there be light. And there was light. God saw, okay, and then He divided and so on and so forth. So God created the world. God created the world out of nothing. Right? How did the world get created, actually? So this is my question to you. How did the world get created, actually? How did God create the world? Good and evil are based on human morality. We cannot define the higher state of morality other than our own. Do you agree? Okay. So yeah, I think they have a human morality that's based on an finite idea, and that I agree. But then there's morality that comes from God, right? That because God creates a standard, right? That's where the laws come from. The standard that God actually creates. If the standard is not there, then that means he hasn't initiated it yet. Like there's a couple times in the beginning, in the antediluvian times, where God didn't create the specific laws, um, and because of the laws, it created like a morality behind the laws, right? Okay, let me see what you said. Okay, so God created, right? He's omnipotent because he created out of his word, okay? His word. Let me just show you real quick, okay, where I'm getting this information. Okay, besides the in Genesis, let's go to a different section. And I know it's just omnipotent for now, but I'll get to the other thing. I won't forget. Okay, so I'm gonna move this up a little bit so okay. So in the beginning was the word logos, right? Logos, and the word was with God, and the word was God, right? All things were made by him, and without him not anything was made that was made. In him is the life, and the life was the light of men. Okay. And also, I think we see it verse chapter 14, or 14 here. Okay. The Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, right? And we beheld his glory. So, the Word out of the Word out of Jesus, right, mouth is the one that has a creative power. Also, they're three in one, so they all have this creative power. They share it. Okay. Um, so each is a person, right? And have the each have emotions. Each have a different mission, right? For would you say that God created everything from His own will? Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Um, God created everything from His own will. And let me show you a little bit further. Okay, I think if we go to Colossians chapter 1, verse. Here, I'll look it up a little bit. And then there's another verse, and then that's it. I want to end there as far as. Okay, verse 15 in Colossians. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, so who is the image of the invisible God? The firstborn is the first in preeminence, right? Arche, not equal with God. Okay, the firstborn of every creature, for by him were all things created that are in heaven and hold on, and that are in the earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones, dominions, or principalities, or powers. All things were created by him and for him. Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, you have another question. Okay. So God has free will. That is a valid statement according to your belief. Correct? Yes. God has free will. I don't know if it's the same thing as our free will. He is he's always willing to do things God's way. So Jesus, when he prayed at the at Gethsemane, right? He didn't pray for his own will in really difficult situations. In really difficult situations, he prayed that God's will be done. And that's how we're supposed to pray too. We're supposed to pray that God's will, even though we may have free will, that's inherent quality, but that we're dependent on God for our direction in life. Because that's what it says in um, uh, hold on. Let me show you. I won't even have to go. So trust God, trust the Lord, okay, Yahweh, with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. So God does have his own understanding, right? But he doesn't lean on it though. If he leaned on it, yeah. Okay. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Okay? Be not wise in your own eyes. Because if you think you know something as a human being, you think you know something, uh, then you may be picking the wrong path. But as God, God will always know the right path. Every time. Okay. So God has to be both good and evil in order to have the duality that makes will possible. Okay. Now, if you look at the another scripture I'm thinking of, but I don't know if I remember the exact one though. Okay, hold on. Maybe. Okay, there's a scripture. It's in Isaiah. So if I can go there and try to find it. Okay. Ah, I want you to read this instead. Yeah. All right. So let's read this. Actually, this is Isaiah 53. Yeah. Who hath believed our report, and to whom the arm of the Lord, whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? All right. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of a dry ground. He hath no form or comeliness. When he shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid, as it were, our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he hath borne our griefs, and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten with God, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way. The Lord hath laid upon him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before her shears is dumb. So he opened not his mouth. He is taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was stricken, and he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death. Right? So God knows the wicked, doesn't approve of the wicked. Right? He knows Satan. Satan has had access to his throne for a very long time until he cut it off. So God is aware that wicked people exist, that wicked people do wicked things, right? He doesn't approve of it, though. And, sometimes to get... oh, hold on a second. I just thought of something else real quick. Okay, I know this just popped in my brain, so let me, okay. Okay, is it 28? I think, it's double checking here. Okay. Okay, here, let's read this. Okay. So God has to be both good and evil. No, let's read this, buddy. And he that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of God. And he knows that all things work according for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose, right? For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn of many brethren. Okay. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them also called, and whom he called, them he also justified, and whom he justified, them he glorified. Okay. So you would suggest that I read about Gnosticism? Okay. Gnosticism states that the flesh, right? Gnosticism states that the flesh, or the flesh is bad, right? Our flesh and blood is bad, but only the spirit is good. And because of that, they cannot believe that Jesus is God, because in the flesh. They cannot believe that because the flesh is bad. But Jesus lived a perfect, sinless life so that you could go to heaven one day. Without his perfect example, we could never go to heaven. There could be no plan for us to go to heaven. There could be no hope for us to go to heaven. Yeah. And also, I think Gnosticism, my uncle was, a Gnostic. And he he never believed in Jesus. I could never talk to him about the Bible or anything at all. And my dad too. That's mostly where it came from. And he was never sure of his, belief. So he didn't have one really. So I know I understand Gnosticism, but I don't want to follow that path. But thank you, Warlock. I like this debate so far. I don't know. It's kind of one-sided. All right. Okay. That's what I understand about Gnosticism. Yeah. It could be wrong. Uh, hmm. I know I only my only education is I graduated what do you call it, Cal State Dominguez, so with the BA in history and philosophy, so I don't really have that high of an education. So if I don't understand everything, yeah, I'm not AI either. So yeah, okay. So the other question you had, if I can find. Okay, so omniscient, knowing everything and being all powerful. Uh, knowing everything. So you think of God like that guy in the movie called Next, I think it was, where he knew all the paths and the right path that everyone should take, but doesn't force anyone to take that path, right? Right? He doesn't force. You're the one that have to ask God, what should I do, right? And He can give you the answer, right? God has. Um, oh, it even says it over here. Hold on, let me show you. Okay, if I remember correctly where it is exactly though. Just give me. Hmm. Okay, I don't know. It's over here somewhere. I can't think of it. Maybe it's earlier in the chapter. Yeah. So give me a. Whoa, 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 whoa. I think I saw it. Ah, here we go. But the carnal mind is enmity, is an enemy of against God. For it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then, that are in the flesh cannot please God. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit. If so be that the Spirit of God dwells in you, right? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that those who do not know Jesus as their Savior, right, have only um, a soul, right, and a body. That's it. A soul and a body. But those who receive Jesus as their Savior, they not only have a soul and a body, right, but they have spirit too. They have a spirit that connects to God, right? That's the only way to be connected with God, is that God would make your spirit alive, because it was actually dead from the, from the fall of Adam, when Eve ate the fruit, and also when Adam ate the fruit. His sin passed down to all people, and every person after him had inherited the same sin as Adam. Okay? Whoa. Okay. I don't know if the. Okay. What else? Finny Man. Oh, I think I have to go now. Dude, I'm really enjoying the back and forth. I don't know if I'm doing a good job, but I've got to go. My wife is calling me. Jason, Jason, Jason. Okay, so I look forward to having more discussions with you all. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. So I have to go too. So let's have another good discussion later. Thank you. Have a good day. And everyone have a blessed day. See you tomorrow, if God wills.